Okay, now let's have a quick look at PortaSwitch architecture. As this is a 101 course, the diagram we're going to have a look at is oversimplified, okay? We're going to consider that PortaSwitch has two main components. The first one is PortaSIP. What is PortaSIP? PortaSIP is a voice over IP switch. It is a system that allows the end user to connect to it and send calls through it. PortaSIP delegates all important decisions related to calls to our second component, PortaBilling. It is PortaBilling that decides whether the user is, our end user, is authorized to make the call, how long the maximum call may last, and how much the user should pay for the call. The two components, PortaSIP and PortaBilling, communicate with each other using a special protocol called radios. So the most important outtake from this is that PortaBilling is our decision maker. Whether to charge the user, how much to charge the user, whether the user is authorized, etc., etc. PortaBilling is the decision maker. However, in order to make these decisions, PortaBilling needs data. And our role as the PortaBilling administrator is to describe who our user is, how much are we going to charge them, and all the additional parameters and conditions that apply. Before we take on our role as PortaBilling administrator and jump into the really interesting part where we get to configure things, let's have a quick overview of the main entities in PortaBilling. There are a few thousands of configurable parameters in PortaBilling, but we are not going to use most of them in this chapter, so we are not going to get into more detail, okay? What is important here is that all the entities can be divided into 5 different parts. Company defines the parameters related to our service provider, the PortaSwitch owner. For example, the company name, the tax ID, the company employees, the level of their access. There is another part that has to do with the infrastructure. For example, if we have network equipment that communicates with PortaBilling, it needs to be described here in this part. It is also here where we specify our security configurations to prevent fraudulent access to our system. Then we have vendors. We have explained vendors in detail in our carrier management chapter. In this chapter, we are going to focus mainly on the two top parts, the product catalog and customers. Product catalog refers to the set of entities that we use to describe the services that we're selling and what is included in them. And of course, how much we charge for these services. The main entity is product. Product is a full set of services and their prices, which our CSP, the service provider, sells to their customers. The most important building block that we're going to consider more in detail in this chapter is tariff. Tariff describes how much we charge for a specific service. If we quickly remember our practical task, tariff defines how much we charge for the calls to Ukraine fixed lines and mobiles and to different EU countries. In order for our PortaBilling system to distinguish between different countries, we describe their prefixes as destinations. Prefix is the initial part of a phone number. As soon as our product is fully configured, we are ready to offer it to our customer. We are going to create our test customer and then a test account under this customer. An account as an entity is basically used to identify our end user. It is the entities that allows the end user to use our service. The account's mandatory attribute is product. We cannot create an account without assigning a product to it. This is why the product must be fully configured before we create our customer. The good news is that once we create our product and make all the necessary configurations, we can sell it to thousands of different customers without any modifications.